if you just make sure that you don't blunder your pieces at this level, I promise you, if you have the patience to wait, your opponent will blunder. Your opponent will blunder at some point, and that is why they are, 500 rated, and they haven't gone up in rating. So my opponent's right now going a6, and this is actually a really good move. I'm gonna go rook c1 because after we've developed all our knights and bishops and we've castled, we want to go ahead and get our rooks into the game. And now my opponent is going c5, and this is a very common move to try to threaten the center. Now, why do you want to threaten the center? Because you want to exchange some pawns to be able to open up more files and diagonals. For instance, with c5, if there would be some exchanges, then this file would be open, and you want to open up pieces, or open up files and diagonals. So right now we're starting to get to the middle game. Now that all the pieces have been developed, we are in the middle game. So in this position, after c5, it's time for us to come up with a plan, which is a really difficult thing to do. Now, many people in this position, I think, would maybe go ahead and bring this knight up over here because they would say, oh, it's protected by this pawn. But here comes another thing that you need to think about, and that is that whenever you're moving up a piece and you see that it's protected, you need to ask, okay, but how many times is this piece attacked? And if we go over here, this piece would be attacked 2 times, whereas it would only be defended by us once, so we would actually be losing a pawn. So this would be really bad. So whenever you go somewhere, you really need to make sure that you're not losing anything, especially when you're bringing up a piece to the side of the board of your opponent. This right here, these first 4 ranks over here are your opponent's side of the board, and these ones are yours. So if you're moving up a piece to your opponent's side of the board, be careful that you're not losing any material. So after c5, there's a few different things we could do, but I think actually that I'm simply going to activate my other rook. I'm just going to move my rooks in here because the more pieces I have that are active and that are not, in their initial position, well, actually, this is not the initial position, but this is the castling position. So the rook is not doing much here on this square because it's blocked by a pawn. But the more you do that, the more pieces you're able to play your chess game with. So right now, I'm just waiting for my opponent to, well, I'm